Okay, cool. You look busy, Lukas. What's up?
I look busy. Yeah, I have some kind of emergency commit for a library,
Oh,
for
okay.
a software library. Nothing too special, but yeah.
Do you want to
I
take
will.
another like couple of minutes to finish your
No,
stuff?
no, it's okay. I can
Okay.
do it afterwards. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The background story is that someone who is like building the official Mapbox SDK for Flutter has now started contributing to a small GeoJSON library that I wrote. And yeah, so I have to make sure my library is any good. Yeah.
Interesting.
Background story.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a library as a contribution to Flutter, which is
Yeah,
it officially like hosted by Flutter repository?
Yeah, it's on the actual package manager, and it's not only for Flutter, also for Dart, and it's, in my opinion, one of the best GeoJSON libraries. Or, I mean, there are only two, and I'm the only one who has really written, I'm the only one who has read the RFC standard carefully, and so that's why I like my library better than the other one.
Yeah, it always helps to read the RFCs.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
many details in it.
But sometimes it's not like the funniest thing to do.
Okay, doc. Have you been able to like do mess a little bit with Flutter? Not Flutter, sorry. Probably with Flutter you did, but with Svelte?
Flutter a lot, but Svelte,
Yeah,
nothing at all.
nothing. Okay, that's almost the same as me. I just wanted to get started with like a very basic SvelteKit website, particularly for the Cloud Study Network community kind of homepage to try to build it. But before that, I did have a few other milestones, and I got one milestone done, and another one is still pending. So looking to complete it maybe like by the next 2 days, and then I plan to move to SvelteKit, like some hands-on project.
That's nice. That's
Yeah,
very nice.
still was not able to start, but yeah. Gunnardi just told in this call before we started the recording that he experienced some challenges in the routing kind of passing of parameters or arguments in the routing procedure. I don't know if we don't have better stuff to explore. Maybe we could look into it, like how it's being done. I said that it's really, for now, it's really difficult to distinguish which part is a Svelte, which part is a SvelteKit. That's both of them are new. We are new to it. So yeah.
I mean, if it really looks like that, this kind of routing is part of SvelteKit, because on the official Svelte docs I cannot see much.
I would also suggest or like think by default that it would be part of a SvelteKit, and similar like as Next.js and React, right? Like the routing part is coming from Next.js.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we did concentrate the previous sessions. We looked more into Svelte actually than the SvelteKit, right?
Because why should you look at routing if you cannot produce any code that is on the actual pages? So you can build very advanced navigations, but with blank pages. That's not good.
So, but look, even without knowing Svelte, you can build some really basic websites, like static websites, right? You could simply use SvelteKit with the routing, like create files and destinations you need, put in every single Svelte file just the pure HTML part, and that's it.
But that's It sounds a little bit nonsensical. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what makes it really interesting is how you can use all of the components, and also what we did last week was we looked at the very basics about how those script tags work, how those component files work, how you can nest components into each other, how you can use style sheets with it, or style tags at least, and some other stuff. And we learned what modules are, or what the module JavaScript tags are. Then we also looked at how element directives work, which is that you can do something on click or bind a property, bind like the value of an input element to a variable. And yeah, that's what we looked into. Maybe today it would be great to look at how the template syntax works, because that's a big part of it, I guess. Yeah.
But then we are also again speaking about pure Svelte. It's not SvelteKit yet.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's important.
We have to learn how to write the components. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to learn the routing. So, yeah, or anything. How we can.
Well, you can do the routing and static content, but at some point you would need some dynamic like behavior, and this is what you can do, I guess, only with the components, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. And maybe let's just dive into the documentation and just do some simple examples.
This is what you were looking for to start with, like from already in the last session. You wanted to get your hands on the template part, right?
Yeah, because that's some of the
that's an exciting part.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Look at, for example, this. Yeah, you have this if, each, await, and all of those tags, which is really great. And I'm really looking forward to how this works. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is very interesting. I didn't know that. A lowercase tag like div with a lowercase d, I, and v denotes a regular HTML element. A capitalized tag such as widget with a capitalized W at the beginning or something else indicates a component. Okay, this is really nice to know.
But isn't it the same? Like, isn't it similar with JS6 as well in React?
I don't think that in JSX it's coupled to that you write it with uppercase, but it's a convention at least. So it looks the same, but I'm not sure if JSX forces you to write it capitalized or if it's just.
I think it does. I'm not 100% sure, but something tells me that it's also being distinguished by the keys.
You write it normally like that because it's classes or those stateless functions.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like that.
So it's an additional constraint and a convention, which is also used by Svelte to put on HTML tags, right? Because in pure HTML, you don't care if it's starting with uppercase, lowercase, or everything is written in capital case. That could be also like the case with tags, right? And once you're using one of these frameworks, it seems like you have this constraint. And I guess it's a good practice anyway, like a clean style to write in lowercase the tags, right? Otherwise, it looks a little bit funny.
It's getting really ugly.
Yeah. So it's not a big deal, you know, but it's important to remember, like to keep in mind that components is being written with a first capital letter.
Yeah, let's just rush through those parts because it shouldn't be too difficult.
Sure.
Okay. Attributes and props. By default, attributes work exactly like their HTML counterparts. As in HTML, values may be unquoted. Like you can use this. In HTML, I normally use quotes, double quotes for it, but seems to be not necessary.
Maybe unquoted, but usually by default I would also use quotes. It looks more clean, right?
Yeah. Okay. Attribute values can contain JavaScript expressions, or they can be JavaScript expressions. Okay. They can be these JavaScript expressions, you write them in single curly braces. And yeah, you can include them into this and also just use them solely in there for attribute values. Yeah. Boolean attributes are included on the element if their value is truthy or excluded if it's falsy. Yeah. Ah, this is interesting. Okay. If this is false, then it won't show up at all. We'll remove it. All other attributes are included unless their value is nullish, null or undefined. Interesting word, nullish. Okay. It's
Yeah.
just some
Also,
basic stuff.
just a quick remark. Also, the words truthy and filthy are also kind of special.
Yeah,
have a
true
special.
Or if it's false.
Yeah, they use some specific terms for their stuff.
Yeah.
As well as knowledge. Okay.
An expression might include characters that would cause syntax highlighting to fail in regular HTML, so quoting the value is permitted. The quotes do not affect how the value is passed. Okay. I don't care. This is just some smaller stuff that isn't that important. Yeah. When the attribute name and value match, they can be replaced with this. This is interesting. I think we already saw that with some other example. Yeah. But yeah, this is interesting. Okay. That's nice. By convention, values passed to components are referred to as properties or props rather than attributes, which are a feature of the DOM. Okay. So they call it props, those things. The parameters or attributes, or you can know them from other languages. Yeah. Spread attributes allow many attributes or properties to be passed to an element or component at once. An element or component can have multiple spread attributes interspersed. Interesting. I'm not really sure if what you do with this. Basically, the spread attribute, I don't understand it right now, because either it could be that you assign an object to it and then it gets spreaded and you have each attribute as each key as a new prop, or it just could be assigned to one attribute that is called things. I'm not really sure how this works. But let's try that out. Okay, once again, spread attributes. Okay. An element or component can have multiple spread attributes interspersed with regular ones. $props references all props that are passed to a component, including ones that are not declared with export. It is not generally recommended as it is difficult for Svelte to optimize, but it can be useful in rare cases, for example, when you don't know at compile time what props might be passed to a component. Okay, REST components are just the ones that are not declared with export. It can be used to pass down other unknown attributes to an element in a component. It shares the same optimization problems as $props and is likewise not recommended. Maybe we should try that stuff out a little.
Unfortunately, I want to say they don't have like this environment, like a web environment to try it out. That would be nice. Oh, here,
Let's try it out here.
But remember with React, like they did have for every single statement, they did have, or was it Next.js? I think it was React. You could try it out immediately.
I don't remember anything.
But even these two parts, like two latest statements, they are not recommended, so we even don't have to remember them.
Props. Support, okay, I now have it. Let me just try how this stuff works. Just try something out here. Let's try to see what we can do with it here. Or how we can use this, basically. I'm not really sure how we can then use it.
That should be part of a template, right? I guess.
I want to see what we get there if we do something like this. If we do something like this, if we use the spread operator, what we will get here.
Yeah, it's a hard nut to crack,
Yeah, maybe I will just try to add const. Let's try to name this component a little bit differently. Maybe tests that operator part that part. Let's try first. Export let second. Try something like this here. Uppercase, I didn't want that. Let's try to use this component here. Okay. This is interesting. Do you understand the example? And it's exactly what I tried to build with it. Basically, we're just importing here our component. And we have a map with first and second here. And in this test spread operator, we have set, we have two props defined, which you do with export. They have the name first and second, and then they get displayed here. The props will be just outputted in P elements. And what I did here is use the spread operator to display them in there.
Mm-hmm. So you just iterated through all the elements in. Is it an array? It's
not like iterating. It's basically adding all of these keys and values to the props. It's basically spreading the already existing object of how do I say it? You get an object which is basically this key value store for all of the props of a component, and if you do this spread operator, you can add these other props to it. Yeah, because they are in here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't use semicolons anymore in JavaScript. I always forget that.
Is it? Should you use, or is it optional?
Just optional if you want to. I always write it because I don't remember that it's not mandatory.
That's a simplification, actually. Yeah, I don't know. Since when do they have it?
Since some years, some older standard, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, let's just read this another time. Spread attributes allow many attributes or properties to be passed to an element or component at once. This is basically what we did in our example. Yeah. Okay. Should we continue, or was this somehow clear?
Yeah. What would be the next part? Like,
I will just give me just a second. I want to
sure.
console.log. I want to try something else. See? There you can see what we get there. This is basically the props of the component, and we can also use it like this. You see, we pass first and second to this component, which are in here. I can also write stuff like this. Third equals add value. Let's see if it's somehow, no, it's not overwriting it. Yeah, nice. Do you understand it?
Not quite. I just was slightly on different piece, trying to understand this app.svelte right now, how it's using the
basically a syntax that is derived from JavaScript. Spread syntax allows an iterable, such as an array expression or string, to be expanded in places where 0 or more arguments of a function calls. Basically, you have is there something else where I can show it? Basically, you can add an array to another array, and it won't be like a sub array, so it won't it won't generate a multi-dimensional array, but it will just spread the existing array and add the elements to it. Yeah. Is there some? I will just go to JS Fiddle to demonstrate it, how this operator works. Let's say know what this actually does. Can you see it, or is it too small? Ah, now it looks very bad. Do you understand what this does? Array2. Basically,
It just,
what we have
yeah,
here.
expands, yeah. The array
No, it
one.
doesn't expand the array. It's an
Not
array
expand, but
inside the
yeah.
array. Basically, it looks like this. We have array. We have something like this. What we have here.
Mm-hmm.
But if we use this add operator, what we will get is basically this. You understand the difference?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it will actually spread it, so it will add this array directly into this.
Mm-hmm.
It will add each element directly instead of just putting another array in there. We
That's a
can
great
maybe
example.
test
Yeah.
it. Console.log array2. See if the console outputs anything. Run. Ah, there you can exactly see what I predicted.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great example, Lucas.
Yeah. And that's what you can do with Svelte as well, but just for the props. Yeah. Basically, this is a short syntax for just add it to the props. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what else we have there. Okay, REST props, we already had that. Maybe this is something we should read. The value attribute of an input element or its children option elements must not be set with spread attributes when using bind group or bind checked. Svelte needs to be able to see the element's value directly in the markup in these cases so that it can link it to the bound variable. Okay, this is interesting. If you have an input, you couldn't do something like this. Input, if you want to bind some kind of value, that value. Say we do this like this. It won't work. It actually works. But if we change something here, I guess it won't change.
Lucas, are you sharing this tab where you were working?
Oh, I'm not sharing this tab.
No.
Okay, what I did there was basically this. If you have an input element and want to bind the value, you cannot do it like this. Can we just rerun it? You have to set the value like this. And then do something like this. Okay, it won't update it, so maybe let's just put value here again. Here we have to actually bind it. I'm not sure how this works. Bind. Basically, you can't use those the spread operator if you want to bind a variable or bind a property to the component. Yeah. It won't actually work, I guess. Yeah. So let's continue here, maybe. Text expressions, I think we already did that. And it kind of is easy because that's the way how you can use JavaScript in here. Yeah. Have you seen those text expressions? Do you understand them?
It's like regular expressions.
No,
Isn't
this is basically that's a bad example because he uses regular expressions inside of it, but it doesn't have to do anything with it. It's just that he used regular expressions inside of it.
Yeah, so just curly braces to
JavaScript.
place. Yeah, to place.
Yeah, what they are showing with this example is that you have to wrap regular expressions inside it again into normal braces. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to show with this. Yeah. Okay. Comments, I think, aren't very interesting. But now it gets a little bit more interesting with if, else, and else if expressions. That's what I'm really interested in. Yeah. Yeah. Should I continue or does someone else want to move on?
Yeah. If you just can take the next one, and I will take care of the other ones.
Okay, that's the await key. Okay. If basically with the curly braces and the hashtag, then comes the expression. Content that is conditionally rendered can be wrapped in an if block. Yeah. There's an example, if answer equals 42, then it prints out what was the question, and then there is a closing if tag. Yeah. It kind of looks like mustache template. But a little bit easier, I think. This is the mustache syntax. And yeah, they also use hashtags, but I think they use them for printing. Or what is it? No, it's an if tag. Yeah. It's kind of similar to it, but mustache uses double curly braces. Yeah. Yeah. Just wanted to compare it to Mustache, which is a very popular templating engine, and very simple one. Yeah. Okay, then let's continue. Basically have if, then you have else if, and also the else. You close them with this weird opening curly brace, slash, and then if, and then closing curly brace. should we try something out that maybe something very easy. Let's try something really easy. Let's call it age detector, and what you have to do here is
age detector.
yeah. Let's try to just bind the age to it. Should add type number, and let's try those tags. If age are they written? Okay, like this. See if this actually can work. Let's see if this works. Or what did I do wrong here? Okay, I shouldn't do a white space here. Okay. What other logic should we add here? Maybe an else if. Say sure what it does with the code formatting here, but yeah. Yeah. Let's see. If we type in 40 here, how do we write else if? Okay, we have to put this at the beginning. Yeah. Let's see if it changes at some point. Okay, nice. Okay, we now have our first
First application is done.
yeah, nice. What else should we add here? Maybe something, maybe another case. Which is bigger than 65. Who are very old. Something like this. Yeah. Put it. Yeah. Something like
Mhm.
could add other stuff. But It would be like interesting to compare the age to some celebrities or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But does it work? Does this logic only work for templates, or is it general thing for the Svelte framework?
I mean, you could also, I guess you could do something else, something like this. Just put age bigger than 18. And this short form, basically.
Mm.
This should work. Okay, correct it like this. Something smaller, we could do it like this. Or what we also could do is that we could write some kind of, because it's reactive, I think we could also write something in here that looks for updates on the age and will then regenerate the JavaScript code, but we could also try something like this. Try moving this to the JavaScript part, for example. Search. This should also work. Oh, it doesn't work for some reason. That. Okay, we have some kind of syntax now. Okay, this doesn't really work.
That looks a little bit strange. Have you used it ever this way?
What? This expression?
Not the expression itself, because it seems like you are defining it and immediately evaluating already. Oh, you okay? Interesting.
But it won't change a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a probably nightmare for beginner programmers to see code like this. Like, what the heck? What does this line mean?
It's the most basic thing ever you have. And
Yeah.
it's, I think, crucial to know this shortcut for if else, or otherwise you spend so much time writing. Also for very easy stuff, you're writing a lot of code, and instead you could just use this. Yeah.
Yeah. It just asks, is the age bigger than 17? Yes. If yes, then please use this first part after the question mark. If no, after the part after the semicolon.
You could also try to make something like this.
Yeah,
it's
that's like
the
newbie friendly version.
Yeah. But we could also just write it like this, return. It's much easier.
That should be on some kind of cheat sheet, for JavaScript.
Get age method. Okay, I have to write function. I always forget that I'm in JavaScript here. Okay, this for some reason doesn't work. Yeah. I already forgot what are the kind of triggers for this reactive stuff, but yeah. It's okay. Now we know how if else and else works in Svelte. I don't think we should waste any more time on it because it's very easy and you can always look it up here. And yeah. The expressions are written with JavaScript, so
Yeah. I mean, other parts like each await. I'm not sure what is await. Maybe it's
this
like
is very
until.
interesting. Where it gets very interesting.
Okay.
I think it's basically you have asynchronous programming where you have async and await in JavaScript. Do you know this? Does anyone know async await in JavaScript? It would be interesting to know because it's a very important concept thing.
Async is a new thing, like for the last 5 years, I guess, right? With JavaScript,
Yeah.
Is it the same as lazy loading or something like this? But it's basically
you compare it with it, but
yeah,
it's basically a concept to deal with asynchronous functions. Karen, do you know promises in JavaScript?
no.
Okay, then
Promise.
it's a little
Okay,
bit more
that's a cool name.
difficult. Yeah, Dart also has them, but they are called futures in Dart, not promises.
Futures.
Yeah.
Okay, promises is a kind of cool.
Yeah.
So let me guess what it is. That you will retrieve a value and it's kind of promised to you, but it's not promised when. And this is like also an asynchronic way. Whenever you get it, then you can continue the processing.
Yeah. Basically, you have this promise, and a promise has a callback that is called .then and an error callback. That's basically what you give to it. And once the value that is promised has actually arrived, it will call the it will call the .then callback. We could try to make something like this here. New promise. Promise. Let me just do something like this. Basically, you have a promise, and it also takes a function, resolve and reject parameters. Then you can do something like
then
this.
You can pass it to a function, right?
Yeah. No, let me just write this stuff.
Sure.
And you can set, let's say, set timeout here. And we could maybe do that we have to add the resolve method here. Set timeout basically takes a parameter here if it's resolved or if it's done. Let's try something like this. I hope this is in seconds. For some reason, set timeout JavaScript. I have to Google it. How the delay is. Oh, it's milliseconds. So maybe let's put in 500 milliseconds here. Yeah. That's basically the promise. After we created the promise, we have this then method. Here we can give it kind of function that deals with it. Let's try something very easy here. Let's say let message equals hello world. Then let's say message equals goodbye world. Just a little bit destructive, but yeah, you can see. Can we somehow trigger it to rebuild it? Yeah, basically after this, let's set it to 2 seconds. After the 2 seconds, after the promise is resolved, with the then method, we set it to goodbye world. Yeah. Okay, let me just restart the program.
Really interesting, yeah.
Works kind of like that. These are the basics of promises. Basically, promise takes a method with a resolve and reject, and after the kind of timeout we set here is resolved. Timeout, this is basically a method you have to run. This would do this immediately. Because the resolve method is immediately called, but we can also assign it to the timeout, which also takes a callback. And so basically, let it wait for the time. These are promises in a nutshell. Okay. We do not use the reject method because we don't have any
bad outcome when we don't retrieve the value. And I'm wondering, like, after which time they count it as a reject.
This is basically another thing. I don't know it either. I think you can set some timeout or something.
I could imagine this promises for API requests, for example, or stuff like that.
Yeah. But
request to backend as well, maybe.
Yeah, this is basically what we should try with it. Maybe we could do an HTTP request with it, and Svelte has this very nice fetch method. And yeah, but the thing is, this is just the basics for these are just the basics for async await, because with async await you have async functions. Let's call this function maybe wait for promise. Okay, what we could also do here is use the await keyword to wait the promise, and then we set this to goodbye world. We don't have to use the .then anymore. Now we have to just wait for promise. Okay, let's see if it works. 5 seconds. Yeah, it also works. Basically, what we do here is await promise is just another way to wait for a promise, but without having to nest something into a callback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I see.
basically.
It's interesting.
But we could also, yeah, do a different example maybe with it. I don't know, but yeah, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. What we could try with this await keyword is, let's say, we write this await for promise.
Mm-hmm.
See how we have to write it. Or no, we could do it much easier. We could just write the promise in here. Written like this. Yeah. And in this expression, we have basically this. We are waiting. Then we have this. Then say we want to get, or no, let's don't print out any value. Okay, nice. Let's try something more like this. Okay, this looks good. Yeah. Do you understand what we are doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really need all of this stuff anymore. This is kind of obsolete. We could just write hello world. We should wait 5 seconds. Yeah. Really interesting in my like it. What we also could do is we have this value attribute here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could also name it something else, response, then could output the response here. And we could, instead of just doing nothing here, could also do something like this. Right. And let's see if this is working. Nice.
Yeah, looks nice. So await is working within templates. That's really nice. And
yeah.
Okay. Pretty powerful piece of
Yeah.
templating scripting.
Yeah. For example, in a more, which would make more sense would be with if this would be an HTTP request and we are waiting and something like this. It should then actually catch data from the internet or something like this. Yeah.
So while you are waiting, you have to show the first block. In our case, it's we are waiting. Could be some
then we have this then
rotating
block
icon, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah. We could also try this catch, the other one called and serious error. You could also try something else. Set time out here. And reject it in 1.5 seconds. Okay, in 1.5 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Look really nice. How do we? There are also directives. Do we want to briefly look into them? What's all about? Maybe not go as deep, but just like to get a general impression.
Directives, we had that last week already. So what we should
Directives
maybe
like this
do is
HTML add HTML. You see, it's under await and keys.
we already had that last week. We looked at on event, on click, for example, or the bind. We looked at all of this already, are the most important ones.
But do you see there are curly,
this.
yes, there are curly braces and then add sign and then HTML directive.
These.
Yes.
Yeah, these are, yeah. Could look
Did
at
we look into them?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, but
that's what I mean. This like because it's a new one. Like with the hashtag, it's more or less clear. This is like a operational directives. But what about this add sign? Debug is okay, but HTML, what does it mean?
in the text expression, characters like this smaller than and bigger than sign are escaped. However, with HTML expressions, they are not. What does this mean? For example, if you would have a string like this, let's try to make this much simpler. Say we have a variable HTML content equals something like this.
Yeah, can you please share
H1.
another tab, Lucas?
Oh, share this tab. We have something like this. We would just, it would look like this. But if we put it in this strange HTML block, I think. Oh, are they exactly writing it? It's much easier. It's much simpler than that. HTML content should display like this. Normally it's escaped like this. The HTML tags are escaped like this. But this way we can actually add HTML from JavaScript to it. From a string, for example. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Nothing very
sophisticated.
Very sophisticated.
And debug is a kind of, I guess, no-brainer.
Oops, debug. Yeah, it basically shows this element in the command line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if we change something here, yeah. Nothing special.
Yeah. Okay, so do we know the basics now?
Yeah, we skipped this each, which is basically an expression for this, for as a loop in JavaScript.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if
I guess
we need
to
do an example here. Should we do a small example? grocery items. Are there maybe bananas, oranges? What else? That should be sufficient.
Indeed.
Let me just try to look at how this works. Each
Grocery item, maybe?
No, even it's not. We have to write it like this.
Yeah. I mean, to call this item as a grocery item, but it can be just item as well.
Yeah. Okay, what?
And then you have to do something. You can print it out.
Yeah,
also.
give me just a second.
Sure. And LIs in between. Nice.
Oops.
Just as a value as a item, yeah.
Easy. Okay. But there are some other things you could see here. You have this, you can access the key and index and stuff like this, which is interesting.
Yeah, like you can put numbers there, like number 1, apples, number 2, whatever.
Let's try something like this. Just see how they write it. Right.
And here you have to put index +1, I guess. Yeah. No, just +1.
Would be better, yeah.
Or index ++. Index +++ is dentures. It could affect index, right? Yeah.
It actually doesn't.
Plus index, I would say.
I think it's overwritten each time, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Okay. With plus is.
It increments before it actually processes it, right?
Yeah. That's the best way, I think. Yeah. What else is there? There is some kind of I'm not sure if we should I'm not sure if we should look at keys and all of that stuff.
No, that's not necessary. And it's with the arrays, like multi-dimensional arrays, right? You can only have them. In your list, there are no. Actually, would be like this names of groceries. Would it be? It would be value, right? And the key. It would be the key and value.
This is a totally different thing. This is a totally different thing. For example, you would have something that you want to just shortly display on the screen or something like that. For example, you would have, a notification that you want to display only for 5 seconds, and after that, this value changes, so it will be not there anymore. Something like that. Key blocks destroy and recreate their contents when the value of an expression changes. Yeah. Yeah, which is interesting.
Okay. But I guess, I don't know, how often will we use the key thing?
Maybe for something like here's like kind of transitions and all of that stuff. And this is really great that we have transitions already built in. This is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What are these transitions?
For example, we could have transition.
Oh, it's
Let's
just
just copy this.
Just a
Let's
visual
just copy
transitions,
this.
right?
Yeah, visual transitions,
Okay.
animations.
Okay, got it. I thought maybe some kind of computational transitions and what I didn't know before, but visual transitions are nice to have for UI, for sure. Like, I guess, fade in, fade out, and stuff like this.
Mm. Okay, for some reason this isn't defined. Okay, we have to import it somehow. I try to find how you import these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just, I'm not sure where they have defined it. Let's try some, just fade from fading. Does it exist? Doesn't exist at all. Is it somewhere they haven't defined anything, they haven't described it here. Crossfade effects. Yeah, super. But I don't see where they're getting these transitions from. You have to somehow import them with a directive, but I don't see where you get them, where they are listed. Which is a little annoying.
Mm-hmm. You have to,
yeah.
You don't know what the name of the library to import it from, right?
No, I see that, yeah, there are, that you have to import some transitions like this. But yeah, not sure how this then would work. Session 8. They also wrote something here. By default, intro transitions will not play on first render.
It's Svelte transition actually. I think there is an example. I can share the example in the chat. Wait a moment. Just on the top line, that what they do is they just import.
Yeah, that's great.
They use in and out, but I guess there are also some other transitions behind it, including the fade.
Try fade.
Yeah.
They also wrote that on the first render there aren't any. They don't do this. The first render.
Why not? Okay.
I don't know, for some reason.
But how should you test it? Like,
you can
should you reload
this tab instead. They are telling on initial intro, you should set intro as true, but I'm not sure where to set it because it's a very strange thing. Maybe I can. I'm not sure where I have to set it actually. Creating a component. Okay. Yeah. But we don't want to create it as JavaScript. We have this Svelte file. So it's really strange. Or could we just add it here like this? Could we just do something like this? Intro true. It won't fade in. I'm not sure how to set it actually. No idea. I'm not sure where we have to set this stuff.
Okay, that's just a gimmick anyways. I think later on in the code. Could you figure it out?
No, nothing.
Maybe use try to use instead of fade in. That was what was they using in this example.
Doesn't matter because they won't.
They wouldn't render it in this example.
They wouldn't render it.
Okay, that's strange.
Or do we have to set this for the whole app? But I'm not sure where we have to set it. I don't know.
That's okay. That's just a minor. Yeah. It's a visual gimmick, which is really nice that they have this set, but it's not like essential. We will figure it out.
There we have the Svelte /transition. These transitions. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, what did we do today? We looked at all of these things.
Yeah, that's are important parts like of the templating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all of these three. Then we have this element directives. We already had on, for example, on click.
Yeah.
Bind group. I think we didn't have this.
No, we didn't.
Yet. But it's just for some other. It's just for some other.
Yeah, it's for multiple
kind of input elements. Yeah, nothing too special, I would say. Okay. But this is kind of interesting, but maybe nothing for today.
No, I think for today we are done. We just can't think what we could cover next time. Like still big chunks which are still missing.
Yeah, actually not that much. I think. I mean, we just have some very small stuff like this: class name, use action, those 2 element directives. I mean, animations aren't that crucial in my opinion.
No, not at all.
For the beginning, then we just have some of those component directives. Then we are already at runtime, which is not that much.
Did I see right? They're using something from 11t below.
No, it's
it's
accessibility.
Accessibility, sorry. Messed up with 11t.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this also, I mean, it's crucial for some people, but I mean, it's not something very.
It will work without, I guess, for the beginning, and it's important to add it to production.
Yeah, and it's just it's just the different attributes you just add there, so nothing too special actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Compile time. I think those are more generally stuff that are under the hood and don't really.
Yeah.
These lifecycle methods in normal case, I think you wouldn't use them too much. Maybe this on mount before update, after update. You could maybe use them sometimes, but they are not. You don't use them too often, I think.
We did talk about Svelte Store, right?
Yeah, Svelte Store. I think we should cover it a little bit more in detail if we have a use case for it. But yeah, I think we already have the most basic stuff. Yeah, this we already had slots at the very beginning. But yeah.
What did we do with the slots?
Slots. Components can have child content. Basically, if you have a if you want to write something, this is the last example for today. Okay.
Okay.
Slots are very easy. Let's say the component. Just write it component. Then we have some.
Can you show us the tab where you're typing now?
That's always what I forget.
No worries.
Basically, we have our component here. This is our Svelte component, and we want to nest something into it. How we can achieve that? First, we have to import the Svelte component. This. Now we can see. It will display what we write in here, but it won't display what we nested in here. So for that, we have to just write this, and it will nest all of the stuff we are writing here into there.
I already forgot about this concept, but nice to refresh it.
Yeah, not too difficult, I guess.
Yeah, but it's I don't know if it's really very intuitive, the name slot.
I mean, many other keywords are already taken by JavaScript, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So what do you think?
Because they couldn't call it body, content would also be difficult. Yeah.
And maybe after, probably the next session will be also about the theory. We will go through the missing parts. But I hope, like after the next one, we could start like building something.
I think we can also already start next time because we have most of the stuff, and the rest we should do maybe. I think we know the basics already, and we should maybe have this the API docs open in another tab, but I think we should only continue searching in the docs or looking into the docs on demand, basically, if we don't know how something is done.
Sure. Yeah. But build already in SvelteKit, right? We don't want to mess with Svelte directly because
we will mess with Svelte directly.
No, we will mess with it.
Svelte.
But our aim would be like to create a website or something like this.
Yeah,
we could use like straight away. Why not? We could push it like weekly out into production, like a shitty production, but still, something better than nothing, I would say.
Yeah, I think really
maybe it will keep us motivated as well, like to progress on this thing,
Yeah, let's try to find some kind of easy application that we could do next time. Something that fetches data from somewhere. A weather application would be too easy.
How about like okay, weather application could be also, but how about
too easy?
Yeah, but think about like cloud-side network homepage, fetching through API events from Meetup and displaying them on the events page.
I'm not sure if the Meetup API is open and easy to use, because I would.
Okay, easy to use, I don't know, but I requested access and they provided private key.
Maybe let's try something.
But something else, yeah, something
we
like
don't
more.
have to put authentic and
Yeah,
an unauthenticated
open API
would be better.
Yeah, there are some open APIs. So homework for everyone: find a funny open API to use for the next task.
I already have like an idea.
Okay.
And GitHub has parts of their API open. For example, milestones. We could try to make some kind of nice illustration of milestones, GitHub milestones, for example. For that, we could just ask for the username or organization name on GitHub, then for the repository name, and then we could fetch the data and display the milestones in some nice way, for example, or also issues and stuff like that. Yeah. This would be easy and possible in 1.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, and you're probably familiar with GitHub API more or less, right?
Yeah, or at least I know that they are properly documenting everything, so it's easy to use.
They should. Are they not like prominent about using GraphQL instead of API? Or
I'm not sure, maybe, but
yeah, but they're also providing seems like REST API as well, right?
But we could do REST APIs with bigger applications if we just have one HTTP request. It's a little bit over-engineered if we would use GraphQL for it.
Yeah.
Because HTML just has this fetch method. This would be the easiest thing. Yeah.
Okay, sounds like a good idea. Let's try it out next time.
Okay.
Okay, so thanks everyone for today. That was it for now, and looking forward to see you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks. Okay, bye bye.
Bye.